In 2008, I started working with a small team to bring industrial revolution to music. Our objective was to ignite a new boom of creativity, community, and commerce. And the way we were going to do this was by redefining who the most important people are in the music industry and finding a way to connect them. I like big ideas, and I'm fascinated by big problems. As a designer, I always begin with the problem, and my path forward is to always find a solution. Now, music has many problems, and I must say that I subscribe to what Einstein said when he said that you cannot solve a problem with the same thinking that created it, and that's the kind of approach that I wanted to bring to music. I would like to share with you today ideas that I think may solve the problems that music has, and hopefully unpack a little some ideas that will show us how to make sure that music survives the next 100 years based on sharing and supporting the stuff we love. But to start with, I'm going to give you a little bit of context. Music is a part of everyone's life. It has been around forever. It will always be around. We live in a world that is alive with the sound of music. It is one of the oldest art forms or forms of artistic expression that we know of, predates even writing. This is Spice Girls 1.0, missing the scary spice on the end there, or maybe she's playing the harp. But the fact is that it is a very real part of what makes us human. People actually say that it is one of the core elements of our very humanity. Someone on Twitter once said that it was what feelings sound like, but from the primordial heartbeat that you hear in your mother's tummy all the way through to Bohemian Rhapsody, music is an experience designed to connect you with an emotion. And as I said, someone on Twitter once put it elegantly, music is what feelings sound like. But let me take it back a bit and tell you a bit about how music has progressed, particularly in the modern age. So we're talking about within the last 100 years, the rise and fall of an industry. Before there was an industry, however, there was just music. In the times of the Renaissance era, artists had to endure often crippling poverty in exchange for their creative freedom. However, a few lucky, supernaturally gifted artists like Mozart and Beethoven were given the ability to produce work with the backing of patrons, rich guys with top hats. These patrons paid for these artists to live a life in music, and that's very important. Fast forward a bit, and along came the machine, and with it, the ability to record, duplicate, and distribute music all over the world. And for a time, it was good. But soon, those patrons were replaced by record labels. These guys. Stars were born, and for a time, it was good. But record labels are businesses, and their business model is to control distribution. They recoup their investments by selling and deriving royalties from musical commodities. Those are the works of artists and their surrounding sort of activities. We talk about their music, the merchandise, the live experience. They will put money into an artist and then attempt to recoup it from you and I. And as I say, controlling distribution is essential to that kind of a business model. But then this whole internet thing happened. And overnight, we were all connected. Suddenly, we had the ability for me to get music from you and you to get music from her. We no longer needed to walk into a store to buy our music, to get our music, and it decentralized where music came from and how we experienced it. Napster drew first blood. They made it possible for you and me to trade music with one another. And most importantly, they put a bullet in the head of the physical format. The CD is dead, thank God. But there was hell to pay, as everyone who'd ever been to the Grammys descended upon Napster with the wrath of an angry God and sought to decapitate and dismantle the structure of centralized file sharing. And it was okay for a while, because Steve came along and gave us a better way to consume music with iPod and iTunes. What this really changed, though, was the amount of music that we expose ourselves to. No longer 12 tracks on a CD, thousands in your pocket everywhere you go. None of you, hopefully none of you, have enough money to fill an iPod, as it would be $8 billion to fill an iPod on the top line. Maybe some of you do, in which case we should talk. But iPod and iTunes revolutionized the amount of music that we were able to experience. And in 2008, this guy, Daniel Ek, not really known to most South Africans, but he started something called Spotify. What Spotify does is it takes millions of songs and makes it available to you to listen to whatever you want, whenever you want, for a fixed monthly fee. And for a time, it was good. But when you peek behind the curtain, these guys are still there. These major services get their music from labels and major rights organizations. They are intermediary organizations that are between artists and us. And one of the biggest problems with this kind of model is that these licenses limit where and how music can be bought and experienced. It is essentially legislated from an ivory tower how we, supporting music that we love, can engage with it and where we can buy it. How often have you typed into Google for a song you wanted to buy, only to find that you had no option on iTunes because you live in South Africa or one of the other hundreds of countries where iTunes and Spotify are not available? However, at results 1 through 7 are links to freely download on Pirate Bay or the like. The truth is, 95% of us continue to get our music from the internet, from our friends, from blogs, wherever. And this is a good thing, but 95% of music is changing hands without any consideration to the artist or the label. That means 95% of music is moving around without anyone being in the loop. 95% of music. I think that is a tremendous amount of untapped potential. And so I believe that with music being repackaged, a new music deal can be forged between artists and fans. Seth Godin tells us that ideas that are free spread quickly, and ideas that spread quickly win. He even wrote a book about it, ironically gave it away for free, and it's his highest selling book of all time. He's a smart guy, so let's unpack this a bit further. If you're an artist and you want to get your music out there, if you want to connect with an audience, you've got to put music out there, and the best way to do that is to put it out there for free so that everyone can listen to it. More than that, you've got to make it available so people can share it with others. They call this social distribution, viral transmission. It's incredibly powerful, and it's almost immediate. And if you think about it, music is a lot like a virus. It moves from person to person to person. But with all artists giving away their music for free, we have to address the elephant in the room. Mr. Elephant, how are we going to enable these artists to continue to make the music that we love? That is the question. And the answer to that question lies in appealing to the heart, mind, and wallet of you and me. And I'd like to just quickly unpack some thoughts around the heart, mind, and wallet so that we can find a path to solve the problems of the music industry, beginning with the heart. You see, music is not a pair of shoes, to put it quite obviously. It is a feeling, and artists are, in a sense, merchants of this feeling. We can't put our finger on what is so important to us about music, but it is. And I think when it comes to the heart experience, I believe that this ball sits in the artist's court. It is them who can move you. I cannot get you to fall in love with a musician in this part of the room. It is his job to win you over through music, but also connect with you on what he believes, what he stands for, and what he drinks in the club. And it is an artist's job to make you feel something. It is an artist's prerogative to shape culture and change lives. That is the heart in my mind. And speaking of my mind, the next step would be to appeal to the mind. Should be a number 2. That's a bit of a mind brain teaser. Probably wouldn't have noticed it if I hadn't mentioned it. But the mind's a tricky beast to win, because the mind wants perceptions of value and quality and reassurance, and it's logic, to be honest with you, and it doesn't function particularly well with music in general. But I think when we wanted to solve the problem of the mind, we had to ask music fans what they felt about music, and particularly about paying for it. And I can summarize their feedback as follows. Music fans, they want to play before they pay. None of this, I buy the song and then decide if I like it. I want to like the song and then I'm willing to buy it. The second thing is that if I decide to buy it, it must be easy and agony-free. I don't need to go to multiple websites and download 4 apps to get your song. I just want the music. And more often than not, the major services don't cater for this kind of interaction. And I think, logically, the artist is the center of the music universe. And I think if we build value around that center, if we make the artist and the experience that they deliver the thing worth buying for, then we're on our way. Which brings us to the wallet. The thing with the wallet is that we live in an age where we could all be patrons. See these guys, mustache cocktail? That could be us, except there are 2.2 billion of us connected through the internet, all with the means and the ability to participate. Now, for half a beer, or just $1 a month, that could put 2 billion into the pockets of artists, and the artists that we love. Push that out over a year, and that's $24 billion we could put into music. With that kind of investment, imagine what music could be like, and it's going to cost us half a beer a month. We'll have change for a 6-pack when we're done. To close, the future of music is very much in our hands. I believe that in any way. And I think we need to set music free and build value in the experience. I think we need to combine the live, the music, the t-shirts, the drinking in the club, and all of that into one big experience, something that's valuable, something worth paying for, and then let's see who pays for it. And I think the future of music relies on embracing the relationship, a direct and symbiotic relationship between artists and fans, artists and ourselves, you and me. And if we take the responsibility of putting our money where our heart is, we can potentially ensure that the world continues to be alive with the sound of music for the next 100 years.